Some time ago, before the pandemic, I was double charged by a hotel. I reserved a room on Booking.com and paid for it. When I arrived there, a front desk manager asked my credit card for pre-authorization fund. You know, a common thing. But after checkout, I realized that they charged me for a stay as well, the second time. Oh, that's a bummer. Hi everyone, my name is Andrey Chebotarov and I'm Travel Technology Competence Leader at AltexSoft, and this is my travel blog. No, not really. As the world lifts restrictions and returns to normal, we keep talking about how online travel agencies work. Today, I'm going to discuss post-booking customer support, or how travel agencies help travelers if something goes wrong. The good news is I managed to return my money. The bad news, it took me several weeks of phone calls and emails, because post-booking support is the least automated and the weakest part of a digital travel agency workflow, usually at least. Before I explain why it lags behind, let's define what goes into post-booking support in the first place. What does it mean? Well, three main things. First, help with travel disruptions and errors. Let's say a traveler books a hotel room, arrives there at 1 AM in the morning after a 9-hour flight, exhausted, and the reception says that they don't have a reservation and all rooms are occupied. Or someone was double charged. And if you're too exhausted to debate with the hotel staff, you call an agent, right? The second way the agencies can help is amendments. A traveler wants to change dates, upgrade a hotel room, change the number of travelers, you get the idea. And finally, cancellations. This is a simple one. A traveler cancels a service and expects to get at least some refund. Okay, three types of support. So why are they so underdeveloped? First, more often than not, everything goes fine. Travelers book their flights and hotels, arrive at destinations and enjoy their stay. Disruptions or miscalculated charges aren't that common. Cancellations or amendments don't happen that often either. So most travel agencies focus on something more urgent, which is understandable. Another reason, it's actually hard to automate most of those things, especially when amendment requests are too specific, like requesting a crib or booking an additional parking space. There are many different APIs or provider interfaces to deal with, if any, and some hotels or airlines just don't expose cancellation or ancillary services through their digital channels. So yeah, it seems unimportant or too complex to improve post-booking support, and some startup online travel agencies don't even consider it. They just don't have it in their backlogs. And among hundreds of OTAs, just a fraction of those have something decent to help customers after they made a purchase. In reality, post-booking support is one of the, if not the only, key things why customers stay loyal to an OTA. In the agency business, most customers come because of the lower price, but they return because of the customer support and because they trust an agency. So you don't want your post-booking support to be an afterthought, let alone neglected at all. It must be quick, responsive and aware of the situation. And here's when technology can help. Okay, so what if we do decide to automate at least some of those things? First, let's find out how exactly post-booking support happens in the most basic, good old days scenario. Usually, travelers call a travel agent or customer support, and these employees have voice-over IP to take calls, and they create a ticket in help desk software. And then the travel agent calls a supplier or uses a GDS terminal to resolve an issue. This is the most basic, bare-bones process. So let's go over the main things that can be changed here. Let's start with communication. A recent survey by Travelport says that more than half of travelers prefer communicating with agencies in chats and messaging platforms. Phone calls may be too stressful or expensive, while standard interfaces may not be enough in case of specific amendment requests or disruptions. So the first thing you want to do is integrate some messenger in your existing help desk software. You may have several of those depending on your market or geography. Travelers must be able to message you in any convenient way they have. Additional thing you can do is employ a bot. Yeah, it seems like standalone chatbots are doomed. They are free in the way to big guys like Amazon Alexa, Google Assistant or Siri, but they still can be very useful in post-booking support, especially if integrated with WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger and others. The bot doesn't have to be some complex AI-driven assistant that can do all things travel and on top of that tell a dad joke. The main thing it should do is understand what a traveler wants and then connect to a back office to initiate an operation if possible, for instance, cancel a flight. Or it should redirect the request to a travel agent if it's something more specific. It will cut the time it takes to capture the request and then start processing it. Speaking about processing requests. As I said, it's hard to automate everything, but you can do some things to reduce the amount of manual work. For instance, GDSs have APIs to support some cancellations or amendments. Amadeus Ticket Changer or Sabre APIs support that. A common thing, though, is to integrate those APIs with the back office to let travel agents run these things. This way, travel agents can cater to their very specific needs instead of using bulky GDS interfaces. As for hotels, similar APIs are available at some bed banks like HotelBeds, but hotel market is much more fragmented. It has too many wholesale players, aggregators, and hotels themselves. Their APIs may not support cancellations or amendments like changing dates or names. That's why many operations still happen over the phone. Another problem here is that back office of an OTA must understand and work in line with different cancellation and alteration policies of suppliers. And on top of that, OTAs must understand suppliers' rules and fees that apply when the booking is cancelled or changed. An OTA may also charge an extra service fee for processing cancellations, or it could be included in the end price in advance. Anyway, you have to configure all the specifics as amendment and cancellation policies. So, it is possible to automate some request processing. It can be done using APIs and by implementing some specific commission logic in your back office. We have talked about cancellations and amendments, but what about disruption support? Most travel agents don't consider any specific moves in this direction. If a traveler gets stuck in the airport because their flight got cancelled, they can reach an agent by phone or, for that matter, write a message. And then an agent will be able to react somehow, rebook a flight, or find another hotel in the back office system. But there are some cases when this simply doesn't work that way, especially in business travel. Sometimes travelers need to know that their flight is cancelled or delayed right at the moment when it happens, to win the time to catch another flight. And imagine that there are about 150 people from the same cancelled flight who want to get another one queuing at the airline desk. Most of them will have to stay overnight, because there won't be 150 seats available at other flights today. We at AltexSoft work with a system that solved this sort of a problem for one of our customers. The system used real-time data to track all the disruption. And then it automatically notifies both an agent and a traveler about cancellation or delayed flight, and the agent could start to work on the problem right away, even before a traveler writes a message or calls. No need to wait in a queue and hope that you will fit in before all the vacant seats are filled. The agent will start rebooking the flight as soon as notification appears. As I said, this proactive disruption support helps when time is critical. And eventually, this is where innovation is going. I imagine in a couple of years an agent app will be suggesting alternatives on the go and will work for both leisure and business. And as always, I'll end up with the most advanced things, the changes that the industry is only trying to achieve. The current trend in travel is self-service. You don't need to hire people to print boarding passes. There's a self-check-in. You don't always need a border officer to check citizen's passport. Biometric systems do that. This is what's likely going to happen with post-booking support. More and more travel agencies exposing amendment and cancellation functions to customer interface, and the travelers will be able to make changes themselves. This will require more standardization between different players and active use of APIs. There's even the term API economy, which means that every feature in the system, every possibility has its own API, and you can connect with it and communicate. This doesn't mean, though, that phone calls will be gone for good, but they will be reduced to minimum. Unfortunately, this level of automation is available only for players who own the entire distribution chain, like Airbnb, who has both Travelers app and hosts extranet. So that's it for today. If you run an OTA or just plan on doing so, please share in the comment section how do you approach post-booking support. Are there anything that can be improved? And see you in the next one!